Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome, everybody, to another glorious episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. The fall doesn't want to come to Southern California. It was hot. It's hot again today. Everybody was complaining about it, but I mean, calm down.
It's hot up here too.
It's hot everywhere. No question about it. Phil Robinson, LA football, Raider ramble. Unfiltered truth. I mean, whatever I'm missing, can you fill in the blanks for me?
You said unfiltered truth, the Combat Lounge, Freaks of Wrestling. Actually, we got to get a show out and do that. Me and Tone. The Combat Lounge has been crazy. If I told it, what Tone is doing for the Combat Lounge is incredible. Boxing, we're really going to be getting into the depths in the fight game pretty soon here.
Yeah, should be cool. Should be cool stuff over there. And I know you're always busy doing a bunch of stuff on YouTube or on writing thing. What do you feel like the biggest thing that surprised you about USC this year? We had shows before the season started. For me, it's how that whole offensive line has just gelled. I think it's amazing that they've gelled to be so. I mean, like Caleb doesn't get a lot of hits. He has a skippability, but they run the ball well. What are some of the things that surprised you the most with this 4-0 USC start?
The defense, the defense, who's leading the nation in interceptions. I believe they're now tied for the lead in turnovers. And that to me, when I looked at this defense in the spring game and they were getting torn apart by the offense, and I had seen some of Alex Grinch, Oklahoma's defense with last season with Alex Grinch and the way that they were getting burned off the line and looked in various assortments of disarray. I was deeply concerned, but they've come out and they've been consistent with the turnovers. They've been timely in the stops. They've pretty much held every team to about 25 or less, and it's just been a breath of fresh air. When I went to look at this offense, what this offense could be, and what this team could be as a whole, the only holdup to me was going to be the defense. And this may not be a great defense in terms of dominating the line of scrimmage, shutting down the run, and all other types of typical defensive metrics, but they're leading the nation in turnovers. And anytime you can get the ball back to the type of offense that the Trojans have, now my only problem is that I don't think they're going to have good enough competition. I think they play down to Oregon State's level. And from there, the only other two teams in this conference that are really going to give them any type of trouble is probably going to be Utah and Washington in the Pac-12 championship.
So, what do you think? Are you thinking that for US that could be the thing that keeps them? I think go undefeated. That'd be the thing that keeps them out of the playoff. I mean, like, you only can play who's on a schedule, but I mean, if they have to beat you, obviously beating Utah impressively on the road would have to be something that was in the mix for them to even have a chance of that.
Would you like me to answer that honestly, or would you like the media answer?
Oh no, I want that. Come on, I want the unfiltered truth.
You want the unfiltered? There is no way on earth. If USC goes undefeated, that they will be outside of the college football playoff system. Shit.
You're right. I mean, it's funny. I remember I learned that lesson growing up.
Yeah,
because I remember Notre Dame was undefeated or had one loss, and I was like, but they're not as good as. I remember telling my father they're not as good as those other teams I watched all year. He was like, they're Notre Dame, son. They'll be in it. They'll be in it. They'll be in it. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it said an
I get
undefeated
it.
Trojans team. All of college football will be all the powers that be will be collectively just like, oh.
Yeah, exactly,
Said,
exactly,
do you know what that would
exactly.
do for recruiting, bro?
Dude, I think, and I think also too, with you mentioned recruiting, and I say this too, like um, how much is it? How scary is it for Notre Dame, who had a good recruiting class, and then now all of a sudden that that class is gonna go that class gonna go away because of the fact that they're not doing well right now.
They need a quarterback. I mean, that recruiting class can be the greatest team you've ever seen in your life, but with the quarterback that they have, they're not going to win very many games
No, no.
unless they're playing subpar talent, and that's just the long and the short of it.
Yeah,
So you can have the greatest recruiting class ever, but if you're not solid at the most important position on the field, it's not going to matter.
yeah. I'm looking at the top 25, and I think Georgia head and shoulders. Right, you probably
Mm-hmm.
agree that the best team in the country. Do you feel like USC is? You think USC could play Alabama to in a game? You think they can play Alabama, play Ohio State, Michigan, or Clemson in
It's
a
a, it's a
in a tough
different
game?
game. It's a different. It depends on what style they play. It's a
Yeah,
different game. So what for the first time the Trojans played from behind this year. And for every year, for every game I've looked at, I've taken it on a game by game approach and looked at it as a lesson. What is this? Because the road to a championship team, they don't start out as a championship team. They got boxes to check off. They got a list of things that they got to go do and accomplishments that they got to hit in order to do so. Last week was another one. They played from behind for nearly the entire game and Caleb Williams had to have had the worst game I've ever seen him play. I had to go back and dig through stats to actually find a worse game. Baylor was bad, but it was like, is he hurt? I was like, no, that's just a regular sleeve on his arm. That's not a brace. I was like, what is he doing? Like, he's not even close, but he was running for his life. That brother had to be tired because he
yeah.
was running.
And you also look at the I thought the two biggest plays in that game or the Oregon State game was obviously his throw. That's a great throw. That throw he made in the cover two. Great job by Jordan Addison to stay engaged. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
wanted. That's what I wondered about Jordan Addison. If he had a game where he wasn't getting the football consistently, would he stay engaged throughout the whole game? And he ended up winning the game almost in walk off style. And then there was Travis Dye who came out of the end zone, fumbled the football because he ran to his own guy, and then our offensive line, I think Hatkins, the offensive lineman, was able to recover the fumble and stay out of the end zone, so it wasn't a safety. That was probably the biggest. That was probably some of the biggest plays in the game. And Gentry is just. People talk about unicorns in sports. That kid's a unicorn in sports. I mean, he really clogs up the middle. He is a tough guy to throw the ball around if you're trying to throw the ball in the middle of the field.
It's not that out of the ordinary. Cal had a guy last year, Coin Dang. Now he spent a lot of time on the hurt,
Injured, yeah.
but he was 6'6" as well.
Yeah, so I mean that whole thing as well helped USC just continue this. How much of a mistake would it be for Alex Grinch to take that Arizona State job?
A big one. It's it in life. In life, we have opportunities come to really two things. Is it an opportunity or is it a test? Said is he ready at the level he is? He's being offered a head coaching job at Arizona State. Now, if we can believe some of the rumors that have been floated out there were members of the Arizona State staff that was actively leaking information to the opposing teams in order to get Herm Edwards fired. Now that's rumors and that's unconfirmed. Let me state that. But at the same time, it would have come out of nowhere for unless somebody had put it out there. and people do put out crazy things all the time. But the way that he was met by the team, the school president and the athletic director in the back of the end zone after a tough loss had the whole world talking about he was fired on the field. But the thing about it is that this game they played from behind. It came from behind. They played a team that was physically dominating them. You saw the toughness of Caleb Williams, the ability to get it done in the clutch. You saw the coach go over to him, let him know that it was time to shine, that no matter what has happened up to this point, that it's time for you to go out there and do what you do and reclaim this. And he saved it. He basically had his version of the Bryce Young game against Texas, where they had no business, Texas did, being in that game, but the fact that they had almost won and had Young lined up for a sack to win the game, and somehow he managed to score it out of it. I would call this his Texas game. And so right now, that young man is checking off boxes for his Heisman campaign. Jordan Addison is going to receive the bulk of a lot of people's attention and their best players from some of these top schools when they finally play. And and these other guys, the Mario Williams, the Brendan Rices, they're Washington, they're all going to need to step up when that happens and continue the offensive flow, even though they're going to see some top tier talent in their own rights.
Who was really an unsung hero in the Oregon State game was Taj Washington too.
Yes.
Yeah, he made some clutch catches in this ball game, and I do give him a lot of credit for just being just there's enough balls to go around. I mean, there really are, especially with people who are trying to treat Jordan Addison as far as that goes. So we'll see. Maybe they get. I mean, even for like Lake McCree and people like Malcolm Epps as well too. But I thought that, like you mentioned, the Texas game, I thought it was a great barometer for him. That was a tough game, really bad game, but he was able to hang in there and make plays. And he made the one play, and this is what when we talk a little bit about the Raiders, we'll talk about that. But the one play that you need your quarterback to make sometimes on an off day, he made it. He made it when the game was on the line. He made it, and and his ability to his escape ability to get out of. He's been learning how to get out of bounds instead of taking those hits. I thought on that fourth down he was going to get stopped, but obviously another Bush push there that kind of saved USC. But yeah, a great job in that. And I thought it was a good back and forth between him and his head coach. Like, the encouraging, you can see the encouraging words of saying, we got this, we can come back and win this game. Mm-hmm. The Pac-12 network is my first experience with Pac-12 network and their awfulness. They really are bad. And I thought that, and I was saying to myself, I'm like, they never even mentioned about how the game really was 7-3 at half. For the Beavers to win this game, they should have been up by more at the half. For them to only be up 7-3 and you're playing a more talented team, that's when I was sitting there saying, like, this game is not over at all. Like, this game, not even close. And they were talking like, nobody was open. I mean, like on the first drive, Caleb Williams misses. I think it was Taj Gibson on an out route that he usually hits, and that would have been first and goal at the 3-yard line. He even on the underneath route, he had Mario Williams on that same kind of pattern. So that was really not. I mean, that was really kind of like almost like it's almost like, okay, they're leaving, so let's just give it to USC. Like, they're leaving the conference not high and dry, but it's the conference's fault that USC is leaving, in my opinion. But like,
absolutely, it is. There is no reason in the world why USC should be leaving the Pac-12. It's unfathomable that they can't put together a top tier channel package or just to let USC leave the Pac-12. That is
embarrassing.
It is an embarrassment, and there are a lot of people who should lose their jobs because of that.
Yeah, and then I think that on Pac-12 Media Day, They didn't. The game wasn't live. Like, how do you not? You have Lincoln Riley, Chip Kelly. You have the Oregon coach. You have all these storylines, and you don't put it on live. Like, if you watched it on the web, you can see it live, but you watched it on TV, you couldn't see it live. That's how not to have people watch your network. Not to have you watch your network. So, looking forward with the rest of the USC schedule here. I mean, I believe I'll be at the Washington State game.
Mm-hmm.
They will play Utah after that, and I think that Utah is going to be, and then they don't have a game on the 22nd. But what are your thoughts about, like, I don't want to skip ahead too far ahead, but like, I don't, in case we don't talk. I mean, Utah is clearly this biggest battle here. And Utah plays Oregon State this week, so we'll see what happens there. But this is a game where I know USC, the new rules, you don't have to win your side of the conference to get to the championship game in Vegas. But I mean, something like that. There was a rule like that where you like, let's say the teams with the two best records.
I have to look into that.
Looking at, I think that was one of the rules that they kind of changed. Because people were saying that USC could lose to Utah and still make that game. But obviously that's another huge test, right?
No, I agree, but and there'll be another game, a game or two like the one that they had against Oregon State, because they're just not going to run away with it.
Oh yeah, no.
But Utah was another one of those games that I circled. I was mad that we weren't going to get to see Oregon, but looking at both picks, it really wasn't going to matter. They weren't going to beat SC, not the way they're playing.
No.
and if they thought they were giving up interceptions already, the last team they wanted to see was SC.
Yeah. No question about it. Yeah, USC.
You out here giving out gifts and interceptions. No. You definitely don't want to see SC.
No, I don't. And then Mekhi Blackton's interception was spectacular. I mean, that's NFL type stuff right there. So
yeah,
we'll see. Let's skip over to the dark side, and the dark side in every way right now. What is we got like 6-7 minutes left. What are your impressions? What are your thoughts? What is your is this surprising to you? Do you kind of see this coming? What were your thoughts about the Raiders being 0-3?
It was so. Is it surprising? It's absolutely surprising. It shouldn't be 0-3. They should be running the ball more to offset what they've seen from the quarterback. Now, what I've seen from the quarterback is indeed surprising, because this is usually the type of football he plays coming out of the bye and down the second half of the season. It seems like teams have found a better way to play him, rather than apply pressure, but to simulate it and just drop back and freak him out and make him uncomfortable in the pocket because he holds the ball too long. And he can't throw with anticipation.
Yeah, my thing about, people who are, I don't know, I guess stands, whatever. I just use the word because everybody uses the word car stand. Mm-hmm. That didn't. I mean, that with everything being said, first drive of the season, he has Waller wide open on the out route at the goal line. He toasts Derwin James. He's wide open. You miss him. Later that game, you miss Devontae Adams, who's open. Got plenty of time. The offensive line did his job. Like, I mean, we can sit there and like go back and forth, but I mean, like, you have to be able to just be honest about the situation, and like those balls have to be completed.
That's got to be a touchdown.
And even if has to be against the Chargers, if they completed one of those,
that's game.
It's game. They beat the Chargers. And I mean, what happened against the Cardinals is just
technically it would have needed to have been 2, because if they'd have got the one to Waller, that would have been 4 more points instead of 7. So they would have needed 2.
Yeah, and then to me, what happens at the end of halves has been debauchery. Like, not only are you not scoring at the end of the half, but you're giving the other team like a field goal or a touchdown on that. I mean, the interceptions and all that stuff like that. You just can't. you can't have it. I mean, you can't have it. All I heard was that he's picking up this offense. I heard Edelman say he's picking up this offense. Like, okay, like let's see him pick it up. Like, I'm not sure. Here's my thing: the folks who complain about the offensive line is like, how pristine do you want an offensive line to be? like the other guys on the other side get paid too. So you can't sit there and think you're gonna have like 3 hours to throw the football. You got to be able to.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And don't you say otherwise. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter if they're tied for second in overall pocket time in the league. It's still not enough.
It's not enough.
All right. If he should never even have to even think about seeing a pass rush. It should be like practice where he's wearing the red jersey.
Yeah. 11 on 11. Yeah, I mean, you can't say enough. I mean, like they really. I'm actually like I said, I'm going to the game on Sunday. I thought I was like, you know what? There's no way the season could blow up this early. I go to the Bronco game. You know, I was like, tickets were a little bit less for the Bronco game than it was the opener against the Cardinals, and I was like, little did I know, of course, 0-3.
Listen, I'm gonna keep it real. So this team was good enough to this was quarterback proofed. They got 4 running backs on this roster and a fullback, a huge offensive line, 4 tight ends who are all 6'4", 6'5", and 250, 255, 260 plus. And they refuse to run power football and bully ball. They're playing smaller defenses. Yeah. Let's be real. These defensive lines that they're playing are smaller. Now, Denver went out and worked on getting bigger and added DJ Jones and somebody else, but currently DJ Jones didn't practice. Yeah. So if he doesn't play for the Broncos, that's all of their run defense up the gut.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. So like I said, it starts on Sunday. I mean, like this is it. I mean, this is absolute. I mean, it might be it already for the Raiders, but this is definitely going to be it as far as that.
Yeah, goes. if they don't beat Denver, I'm gonna have to say that it's going to be it too.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, they have to. I mean, they have to go into the break. I want them to go into the break 3-2. They can't do that now. At the very least, I mean, they got to be the Chiefs too. They can't go 1-4. They got to.
They at this point, would you take 1-4, 0-5? That's what you're staring down the barrel of. I mean, we could sit here and talk about what we're not going to accept and what we don't want. That's what it is.
No, they are what they are. I mean, they've earned every bit of that 0-3.
Every bit of
it. So as far as that goes, so that's crazy. I'm not gonna go crazy about that part of it. Yeah, they have definitely earned every bit of that. So no question about it. All right, Phil or Robinson.
Yes, sir.
Many media outlets. Unfiltered Truth, LA Football. You guys do that. All 22. I see you out there. I see you doing your thing out there, doing everything out there. And then you also got all the wrestling stuff as well too. So thank you for joining us on Student Body Right. Sorry for all the interruptions. Little man got to speak. You know what I'm saying? He got a big mouth like me.
Man, you gotta let it be. He gotta be heard. You ain't gonna disrespect his shine, Pop.
No, I got all these cartoons in the background instead of a game because he just left the room. All right, brother. Take care.
All right, take care.